Alright, we're back with another Discord League match for you guys. This time we've got a Crane Mirror match, round of 32, Chutereve versus HumblestMonk. I've got Tenerim here with me. How are you doing today, Tenerim?
I'm doing well. I'm doing very well. Have you had a chance to take a look at their deck lists?
Yeah, I've got their deck lists pulled up. They're both on Scorpion Splash. Shoots on the more boring 2 Fate Worse Than Death, 2 Calling in Favors, but it's a good one. And Humblest Monk is on 2 Calling in Favors, 2 Forged Edict, 1 Mark of Shame, 1 Meek Informant.
Which is interesting. So we do only see two policy debates from Chutereve as well.
Yeah,
So
with a lot of the good cards that have been coming out in Crane, I myself have also dropped down to 2 policy debates. I think it can be really hard to set them up in some matchups, so you don't really want your hand to get completely clogged up with them.
that's fair. I've just heard like from some people that your choice of restricted list card should always be a 3x. Why choose it otherwise? Basically, is their argument.
Yeah, I personally think that the thing that matters more than whether or not you're bringing 3 of your restricted list card is that you don't double up on spending your restricted list card on something that costs you influence, because then you end up sort of, in a sense, you're double spending for a card.
Makes sense, yeah.
And that's something that Humblest Monk has decided to do by taking 2 Forged Edict. That being said, in the Crane Mirror specifically, you can sort of you can represent counters when your opponent can't, which can be pretty important as both of these decks are very event heavy.
Right, and we're actually into the game here. So we
Yeah.
see HumblestMonk opening with a pretty strong start of a Brass Samurai, one Fate, and a Doji Whisperer, and Chutereve also getting a fairly strong start in the form of Guest of Honor, 3 Fate.
Yeah, so Shoot won the die roll, which is a pretty big deal for Crane. Getting that extra fate to get a board that has some more persistency is very key. It looks like he got the passing fate as well, and also had Manicured Garden as his first province to be hit. So he is just swimming in fate compared to Humblest Monk, as far as total
Actually,
fate available.
they're actually 3 to 3 Fate, but
Yeah.
if you count the board, it's a bit different, sorry. And we do see the attack from Brash Samurai on Manicured Gardens, and the first action is to defend with Guest of Honor and instantly policy debate it.
Yeah, I like this play. It sort of gives you an idea of what your opponent is working with. Presumably you have a conflict character in hand to set up for the rest of the turn, so blocking first is not a big deal, especially when your opponent leaves the water ring up, which, you know, it just makes sense to leave the water ring up in this board, but it still gives you the ability to attack back military into a Whisper and stand your guest again.
Yeah, and also this sort of like attack by Humblest Monk implied he might have had a noble sack in hand, like going firing with the Brash Samurai against the Guest of Honor is sort of like that's scary territory.
Oh, definitely. Especially since we know Humblest Monk is on 2 Noble Sacrifices. We can tell from his deck list that he likes doing the blowout plays with Noble Sac.
So yeah, really strong. It's basically to make sure he doesn't have the noble sacrifice to kill off this guest the first turn. That would mean, honestly, that would probably mean Shoot just lost this game if that happened.
Yeah, I agree. Just taking a look at what was played from that hand and what wasn't. It looks like we've got, as far as characters, Steward and Meek Informant. He already played out the Katana, and so for events, he has Way of the Crane Assassination and 2 Court Games. So it's overall, it's like a good starting hand. I think Shoot's starting board is better, but his hand could be worse than that.
Absolutely. Oh, and we actually see Shoot pass his first conflict here. This could mean that he only has a single conflict character in hand or a very expensive conflict character in hand that he may wish to play, like a rival or something, and wants to just dump it with a little bit of fate.
So it looks like HumblestMonk is gonna go for the break here and
Yeah, walks
stand
in
that
with
Brash Samurai.
yeah,
Uh,
walks in with 3 strength and honors with court games, and it is broken.
I think
Wow.
if I had to guess, I would say that Shoot likely had something he could play into that to stop the break, but he'd rather HumblestMonk have to scout for one of his 2 OP provinces next turn instead.
That's fair. And also, this way it kind of forces Humblest Monk to defend with his Brass Samurai and not have a guaranteed fate. Not fate, guaranteed Imperial favor. Oh, and he actually hits Magistrate Station
Yeah, so
now.
that the fact that he hit Magistrate Station, unless he could break, well, even if he could break it, that lost him the favor on the spot, which is, it sucks. Also, you just don't want to have Magistrate Station with a 6/3 honored guy on the board after turn 1, so not ultimately not the best turn for Shoot.
Hold on, why is the honor so off?
Yeah, I'm gonna take, oh, it must have been the policy debate.
Oh, right. Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, Shoot bid to win and HumblestMonk just bid 1, so that goes from, that accounts for some
Yeah,
of it. And then there was an unopposed conflict as well.
yeah. And then the balance tie. Yeah, okay,
Yep.
cool. And
Oh,
we
no
see
one's watching. I'm guessing that's because I didn't link my channel.
That's that's fine, I guess. We do see that Shoot is building a board here, playing a Doji Challenger with 3 Fate.
Yeah, I'm not really one of the more popular streamers, so I'd say about like 80% of my views come from VODs after the fact, so don't worry about the fact that no one's watching it live. I'm sure, especially with Shoot being involved in this game, that people are going to want to see it afterwards.
Yeah, it is also like I've noticed when even when I do like random streams and such, like the Discord is really heavy with NA people. Like when it starts to become like late at night over here, and it's sort of like early evening over in NA, that's when you start seeing the views.
Yeah, I think that for Twitch that might be true. I think the magistrates released a survey of where people are based. It's like 30 or 50% NA, or rather Americas, because we do have some people from Central and South America. But like 50% Americas, 30% Europe, and like maybe 35% Europe and 15% other. And yeah, we're definitely chattier over here on the state side as well.
For sure. All right, and this time we see a Imperial Palace flipped on the already revealed Magistrate Station. That is quite a flip.
Yeah,
And
so at this point, Shoot just has to go for blowing it up. We did see court games to honor, and then a mark of shame, which gets around guest of honor to dishonor, all the way down to dishonor. Now we have to start to be extremely frightened of noble sack after this conflict.
yeah, and also something that's really interesting is that Shoot is now down 2 Yoshis in his discard.
Yeah,
So
I think that's a
like
big deal.
him grabbing favor here should be like it doesn't even matter if it's this turn or whatever. Like I don't think Humblest Monk has to be as afraid of Shoot grabbing favor from now on.
It could be interesting if we see with that fan come down, we know Shoot's committing to winning because he has those 2 favorable grounds. So he could bail out if he didn't want to win, but he has chosen not to do so. So we definitely have more cards to come in this conflict. Okay, that assassination is very good. It puts him a little bit in the danger zone um, with the honor going down to 4. But with the board looking like it does, I think it's less risky. And yeah, he admit defeats the savvy politician, so we're now
I
showing a break.
am really surprised that Humblest Monk didn't pull any of his other cancels here. Because he was. Oh right, you can't because of
Well,
the
he could
guest
have
of honor.
played his Steward of Law or Meek Informant. Like he could do. There was play there, and I agree it was sort of not great to not play anything. He also did not choose to bow with his stronghold, the Challenger. And now the Challenger at home is a lot scarier than a zero skill guy in conflict.
Yeah, and that's the magistrate station broken as well.
Yeah, Shoot played
Wow.
that one beautifully, and Humblest Monk had some play, but he just didn't. It didn't occur to him that the 1x noble or 1x admit defeat could really punish him there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's rough for Humblest Monk here. That's
Yeah,
a
and
huge
now
board state.
Humblest Monk has to play some serious province roulette, and yeah, he reveals the magistrate station, and Shoot doesn't have any honored guys, but he's got 7 cards left to have something.
Yeah. I mean, it's gotta be something in his hand, like Souls Beyond Reproach or Way of the Crane. Yeah, we'll see. Both of them run 2 souls, which I think is the correct number.
It's a little risky for Shoot um, to play Soul into both Voice of Honor and Forged Edict. They would have had to
Yes.
show up in those new 5 cards that he drew since he didn't have any counters after the policy debate on turn 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can always just favorable ground in the guest here if you're afraid of that.
that's a good point. Especially since you'll be able to stand something afterwards, that would be how you would do it, for sure. Good point.
Yeah, and he does instantly.
Yeah, so again, it wasn't breaking before he did that. So we know that he was going to continue to follow up with cards, and we see the bonsai come out. And yeah, we're going to see a lot of play here from Shoot, and this could turn around the game big time since Humblest Monk is not going to have a board after this turn.
I mean, he is down to 3 honor now, and is down on
But
cards.
he's got an attack. He'll be up on 5 honor after the attack.
Yeah, you are correct. The air ring is very good here. Uh, does he have an honoring effect? Is it even likely to draw 10 cards and not find a single soul or a single um, way of the crane?
It's
Like,
unlikely, but we've all been there before, and we do see the past, so ouch.
oh
So Humblest Monk is going for the break, but it's going to have to be a really inefficient one since he can't play events.
yeah, he needs one more.
Yeah, he does need one more, and it can't be the Meek. Cause, yeah, he just realized that he just played a law, steered a law into Guest of Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, that is very true. Guest is a good card. Do we see something like? No, we can't see a political rival here from Shoot, but he has to have a conflict character in hand. Like if we saw a Young Harrier the last turn, do you reckon we're gonna see a Steward of the Law here just to poke?
Well, um, he could poke into Shameful Display, which, given his luck so far, very much could happen. But if he doesn't pressure here, it's going to be hard to stop the political attack from Savvy Politician that's going to come up onto the Magistrate Station.
Yeah, and you kind of really want to either grab the Earth Ring to enable you to definitely bid low next turn without much of an issue, or you grab the Air Ring and just be safe on honor in general.
Yeah, I mean, just think about what happens if Humblest Monk resolves the Air Ring unopposed if Shoot doesn't play something to attack here. So yeah, if he has the rival with no conflict left, so I guess he didn't need to play that until after his conflict, but yeah, I think this is good. Uh-huh. A little risky.
For sure, for sure. I'm just gonna have a quick look at the World Cup listings because they're starting to ask people in the media channel now.
Alright, so we know Humblest Monk has for shame because he played that steward and then derped. As we do see he plays his second court games and now he's going to for shame the rival to bow it. He did need that defender to not go down to 1 honor um, after this airing. But
Yeah,
it does look like Magistrate Station is going to break, which isn't what he wanted to see.
absolutely not.
This
And
board
he
is
is
just
down to
so much bigger though. So
yeah, he's
much
down
bigger.
he's down to 2 honor, but he's basically going to have to survive this turn because I think Humblest Monk would just go airing first conflict to just take it off the board.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
then the next turn as shoot you actually that bonsai garden is potentially
That's a good
huge.
good thing here. It's a good card to find. We do see Humblest Monk did find their first guest. Um,
Wow.
but yeah.
Yeah, that bonsai garden is like probably gonna save shoot here. Like is not necessarily save shoot, but like make shoot feels safe, if that makes sense.
Okay. So shoot passes first. Doesn't need Cautious Scout or Nourishma here. One bid's traded, as you would expect here. And I don't think Humblest Monk can push through a victory in an air conflict with guest versus guest. So yeah, they're just gonna go for the Earth Ring instead. Ooh, ooh, this is medium, medium big,
Medium.
medium big. All right, so the Doji Challenger to defend will start up on Fate or up on skill. I don't think there's a second Mark of Shame in the deck, and there isn't. So Challenger starts off in a decent position unless Humblest Monk has more for shames.
That is very true. Yeah.
He'd need both of them because the Challenger did get that honored status. Okay, yeah, so interesting.
Yeah. Do you just go air here? Do you care about air?
I
Like,
think you want to
or
go
you?
air. You just don't want to sweat the game, right? I think
Yeah.
you could also go fire if you wanted. So the thing about coverting the guest is any defender that comes in from Humblest Monk, if you really had to, you could just nuke from orbit with your a Fate Worse Than Death if the guest isn't there. So this is a pretty likely to succeed attack, I think.
Yeah.
And going Void to protect your guest of honor probably makes more sense than what I said.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Ooh. Yeah, so we do see the Fate Worse Than Death, but we also see a Censure. So that's a big deal. Shoot could protect his event with a voice to go in over the Censure.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so this all makes sense so far, right? The box bows the defender. The
Yeah.
favor is preventing the break though, so we'll need like a Steward of Law. Well, we saw the hand, so we know if there can be a break.
Hmm. Is it too soon here to trigger shameful? Why would you even trigger shameful?
Turn off voice.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that's a good point. And that is the break. High value province gone.
Yeah, okay, so he's broken Magistrate Station, he's broken Shameful Display, and he's got a better board. So in the spirit of overly ambitious calling the game, I'm gonna say that Shoot's gonna get out of this one. Ready to be
Probably, yeah.
proven wrong, but it's more fun if you if you try to call things early. All right, so going for fire is cool.
And you're
Um,
going to see the guest defend as well. So this is going to be a very boring conflict where absolutely nothing gets played.
yep. I think the only live cards are the two fans in HumblestMonk's deck and characters.
Yeah, and one fan is already in the discard. Oh,
So this does tie it up.
now he just needs a way to
Shoot
remove
could play a
the.
Menacing Iron Warrior. Well, but it would be bowed by the Stronghold. So I'm trying to see if there's any play here. I don't think so.
If only there was a way to remove that fate of the guest of honor.
Yeah, luckily Shoot thought of that.
Yeah.
So Menacing Iron Warrior is going to come down to attack here on military. Probably going to go for air.
Yeah. Man, Mind's Desire is calling me out. Or
What?
basically calling the EU out.
Oh. All right. So what? Okay, so Shoot is a better player than me. He actually runs Bonsai Garden and remembers to trigger it. I don't think I've ever done those two things in any of my games as Crane before. I'm either not running it or remembering to run it and forgetting to trigger it. It just sits there doing nothing most of the time, so you can't really blame yourself if you don't remember to trigger it, but it does hurt you a lot.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So
Hold on.
each player loads up on their second guest.
Yeah. What's really interesting is we actually see Humblest Monk sort of get up to interesting amounts of honor here. Like 17 with a Doji
Okay,
Hotaru
so
is.
I have a question for you. If someone was sitting there at 8 honor, would you say they were close to being dishonored? That was the
That's
distance that he was from honoring out.
what happened. Why is he suddenly dropped so much honor?
Humblest Monk bid 5 and Shoot bid 2. I think that was actually probably correct for both players. Drawing cards is actually
Right, fair
crap
enough.
here, because you're not going to be able to play them because of the guests in every conflict.
Yeah, yeah. Fair, fair, fair. All right. In about 5 minutes, the Netherlands versus Greece game is going to start. So I'm going to leave you shortly. But
Sure.
this game is pretty cool, and I'm actually guessing that, like from this situation, I'm thinking Shoot probably has this.
Yeah, Tenerim, you already know I called it last turn, but if
Yeah.
um, hopefully something super exciting will happen and we'll both be proven wrong. But
All
yeah,
right, all right, all right. I just want to explain myself regarding the 17 honor situation. I was looking at that situation with a Doji Hotaru flip, and a Doji Hotaru flip basically makes that amount of honor a bit less intimidating to grab, if that
again,
makes sense.
if we flip the story and we say that your opponent is at 8 honor and you flip your Shiori, do you say, "Ooh, and I can win the game now. They're
Flip, flip,
dishonored out."
flip who?
Shiori, the scorpion when you win a conflict dishonor 1.
And they are at what?
8.
8 honor?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's definitely doable. 100%. I'm
Okay,
not. I'm not.
okay,
I'm
okay.
not even
At
joking.
least you're doubling down on your at least you're doubling down on your story. I can respect that.
No, 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 no. Like having the right cards, flipping Shiori, and
Do
them
you
at
see this
set.
board though, Tenerim?
Oh no, no, I mean not into a guest of honor, obviously, but like against like an opponent that doesn't run like Tadaka or guest of honor.
Right,
Like
right.
if they're at 8 honor, I'm playing Scorpion and I flip Shiori and I have like a huge fate pool. Yeah, yeah, no, for sure. Like 8 honor, yeah, I can easily drain that during that. Like even I'll probably just one bid And if they one bid, fine, I can probably win anyway. But if they don't one bid, I pretty much definitely win. If that makes sense.
Okay, yeah, you're right about that. You know, if you play out Shiori in Dynasty and then they bid into you and you get them down to like 5, they're probably dead, right? Unless
Oh,
the board
I don't
is
even have
like
to
this.
play Shiori that way. Like, I'd honestly probably just ambush her. Like, if we're having like a pretty like
Okay,
normal Scorpion
yes,
scenario,
yes.
like their entire deck on hand, like about 17 Fate in the Fate pool, I'd probably just pass, ambush her in, and then they see like, oh shit, and they realize they're going to die.
All right.
Anywho, thanks for having me on. I'm going to leave you to commentate the rest of this game, and I'm going to catch the Netherlands versus Greece game.
Yeah, Tenrum, thanks for coming. Anyone who's watching this game who'd rather watch a World Cup game or after this one is over, I'm going to link Tenrum's channel in the chat, although I'm sure most of you already know how to watch him. Thanks again for casting with me, and good luck on your other cast. Alright, so yeah, Shoot with that covert didn't have much in the way of defensive options to prevent the third break. But now he's going to have a stronghold push into entrenched position with only military remaining. But he also gets the first conflict in the next turn, which is probably the conflict that he's going to try to win the game. Now that the Humblest Monk has played the Menacing Iron Warrior before the conflict, I actually think that Shoot won't attack here. Or he will attack without the Guest of Honor. And yeah, so Shoot censures the way of the crane on the Menacing Iron Warrior, that makes sense. That is the second way of the crane come down to honor the Menacing Iron Warrior on Shoot's or on Humblest Monk's side. I'd like to point out that Shoot has played 1 court games, no Soul Beyond Reproach, and no Way of the Crane so far this game. And Humblest Monk has played 2 Way of the Crane, 2 court games. Those types of variances can be very impactful. Yeah, so we see the military water come out. So if there's no defense here, Shoot can stand his Doji Challenger for defense. If there is a defense here, you remove part of your character or your opponent's attack on the next attack. Okay, so we see the second policy debate come out. It's going to get to see Humblest Monk's hand for free. It's very dangerous to let a player like Shoot see your hand this late in the game. Wow. So we see Bonsai Fine Katana, which is enough to put Humblest Monk up at 11 with just the Menacing Iron Warrior. Although Shoot could potentially have a fate, or we know he has a Fate Worse Than Death in hand, which could come down on that Menacing Iron Warrior and basically completely negate the attack. Yeah, stealing the rival is pretty key for your attack next turn, I think. So the defender uses the Fine Katana instead of one of his 2 bonsais on the Steward of Law. I think it's better to use one of the 2 bonsais because the character is leaving at the end of turn. Oh wait, it's a guest. He can't use the bonsai. Sorry about that. It does make your offensive options a lot worse. So Shoot is guaranteed to win this if he wants. So instead of playing the Fate Worse Than Death, he gets it discarded. There is another one in the deck if he gets a chance to draw it. That makes it a lot harder for Shoot to win the attack on the Stronghold at the beginning of next turn, although that attack would have had a Guest of Honor if this wasn't on a Broken Province. So Shoot going first here seems like a big deal. And having that Guest of Honor discarded to a Broken Province also seems like a big deal. Yoshi with the favor is big, but it's not going to contribute as much to your defense as you might think with the Guest of Honor sitting across the board. It's really the 6 stats that make a big difference. Let's see how much Shoot decides to extend into this. So he goes Yoshi as well for stats. I think that's a good call. I think a lot is hinging on whether Shoot has one of his other political rival. He is only running 2. Steward of Law would also be good for Shame, which Shoot has not played yet. I think he's... Oh, Shoot's going second now? How did I get that wrong? I think there was a turn that went by without me paying attention to the game when I was talking to Tenorim about dishonoring versus honoring out, and how a player on 17 is actually not close to honoring out because it's equivalent to a player on 8 in a dishonor game. Wow, we see the third Way of the Crane for HumblestMonk. I guess he is up 7 cards. Yeah, you gotta covert the guest and hope Shoot can't play out of a hole here. You do have the Forged Edict. Yeah, this could be really tough for Shoot. Yeah, it's super interesting that HumblestMonk isn't going all in here. He could be on 16 skill. I suppose, I think it's more interesting that Shoot is blocking with the Menacing Iron Warrior, although he's going to use that Soul Beyond Reproach. The real question here is, how does HumblestMonk win here? He's already at 12 skill, and he can't get any more skill from honoring, and he only has, like, he's gonna need fans to get more skill. Another for Shame would remove another 3 skill. Noble Sack seems big. Does Shoot have nothing? That would hurt. Yeah, rival. So that's good for Shoot. Don't think you're breaking through this. This is a void attack, though. Yeah, so by going void here, he's playing for the next turn. by removing the fate from the 1/0 Menacing Iron Warrior. He could have gone water to prevent Shoot from standing someone up on this attack. Shoot doesn't have any fate though, so he pretty much signals he's not going to go in for a poke to stand and then make a 2-character political attack. I'm interested. But he is going to stand something here to get 2 attacks out of the turn. This is a tiny bit risky, because the challenger will be at 2 skill for the box if it gets dishonored. Alright. So next turn, Shoot will be going first. And that's a big deal, with the guest showing and you can covert the Yoshi. Let's see if HumblestMonk tries to find a favorable ground. It looks like he is. He doesn't find it. And you can only add... Okay, adding Hotaru would be pretty big. But double Yoshi means you can't add skill to your board. And Shoot can play Hotaru here for the skill. It can't get dishonored out of the conflict, and it can't get dishonored in the conflict thanks to Guest of Honor. So I think Shoot has this on this board. The third rival would be big. Oh, Shoot with a my turn to show you how to make an attack. I like that. So the third political rival. Oh no, both players are on 2 political rivals. So yeah, no more political rivals for HumblestMonk, so no outs. If he plays a fan, it's just going to get stolen by Shoot. Yeah, that's just going to get stolen onto the political rival. But he probably won't even have to show the... Yeah, that's it. There are no other cards, I think, that interact with the board that HumblestMonk can play. It's always a little sad to see a Crane knocked out of the tournament, but we knew that was happening today. Yeah, see, that does nothing, so. The fancy one fate menacing Iron Warrior. Not desperate at all. Honestly, that was a pretty close game. Shoot got down to 2 honor before rebounding up to 5. That Bonsai Garden was pretty clutch. So round of 32 is the end of the line for HumblestMonk. That's 1 round farther than I got. Shoot will advance to the top 16, where he will face off against Sandy Bell, a very strong Phoenix player. And then in the top 8, we'll face off against either Will or Lenial. Thanks again, everyone, for watching, and we'll be back soon with more Discord League coverage. Probably hop over to Tenorum's channel after this to watch some World Cup action, and hope you guys have a good weekend.